5 of the fantasy basketball season's already here, and here's a few forwards that can help you this week and maybe for the rest of the season on the waiver wire. The first guy's Obi Toppin of the New York Knicks. Toppin, he came back from injury a few nights ago, and now they're starting to give him more minutes here in the rotation. Yesterday versus Boston, he had a good ball game, 17 minutes of play, 5 of 8 from the field, 12 points, 5 rebounds, a steal, and a block, and 2 threes. So Toppin, he was the 8th pick this season in the NBA draft. The Knicks were obviously high on him, and they were willing to try to trade up for him. And in this game, he got some good minutes. The first 2 games back, he only played a minute and then 10 minutes, but he was a first-round pick. This Knicks team, they're obviously rebuilding, and Obi Toppin, he's going to get opportunities to play some decent minutes and have a lot of chances of taking shots and getting the ball. So Toppin, he's available in 72% of fantasy leagues, and I would definitely go out there and try to get him, especially in deeper leagues, because he could help you with threes, he could score the basketball, and he's a decent rebounder as well. So if you need a guy who's going to start playing a lot, or if you got an empty roster spot, I would go out there and add Toppin. The second forward to add on waivers this week's Marcus Morris of the Los Angeles Clippers. Morris, he's been pretty decent now since he came back off his injury. And last week he averaged some good stats, 15.3 points a game, 3.3 rebounds, 1.3 assists, and a whopping 3.3 threes a game he hit, and 54% from the field. So Marcus Morris, he'll play 20-25 minutes a game here for this Clipper team. He got a big contract in the offseason for 4 years, $64 million, and right now they're going to play him. He's a physical guy on the court as well for this team, but as far as fantasy basketball, he's definitely going to help you in three-pointers. He could score the basketball, and he's a decent rebounder as well, and he's also available in 83% of fantasy leagues. So if you need a forward that's going to help you with threes and scoring the basketball, and he's totally not going to hurt your field goal percentage, Marcus Morris is a decent pickup because he's going to get a decent amount of play, I believe, here with this Clipper team. The next forward I would add this week's Xavier Tillman of the Memphis Grizzlies. Tillman, the rookie here, he looked good in his last game with career-high 15 points and 4 steals for Tillman. And Tillman, he's available in 92% of fantasy leagues now. And last week, his stats were pretty good, 11.7 points a game, 3.3 rebounds, 2.3 assists, 2.3 steals he averaged, half a block a game, 65% from the field. So Tillman, it's about playing time for him, and I believe he should get it. In the last 4 or 5 games, the playing time's gone up for him. 20 minutes on January 7th, January 8th, 19, January 11th, 18, the 13th, 18, and then yesterday, 28 minutes where he went 7 of 13 from the field, 53%. He added a 3, 15 points, 4 rebounds, 2 assists, and 4 steals. So Tillman, obviously in deeper leagues, he's more of a pickup than standard formats, but he's a guy definitely to keep on the radar, and we'll see what he could do over the next few games here. The next forward I would add on waivers is C.D. Osman of the Cleveland Cavaliers. Osman, he's been pretty solid so far this season, and last week he really took off, was Osman. 18.7 points per game he averaged, 3.3 rebounds, 1.3 steals, 5 assists, 2.7 threes, and 45% from the floor. And on the season, his average is 13 a game, 3.8 rebounds, 3.7 assists, a steal a game, 2.3 threes, but 37% from the field. So Osman, he's definitely going to hurt you in field goal percentage, but his other stat lines are pretty decent and pretty solid. On the season, he's ranked 166th. The only problem with him now, the Cavs, they haven't played in their last 2 games because of COVID. They couldn't dress enough guys, so they were postponed last night and today at Washington. Once again, they're postponed, so hopefully by the January 20th game versus Brooklyn, that C.D. Osman and the Cavs could play. And Osman, he's available in 73% of fantasy leagues, and he's not a bad get to get on waivers this week. And the 5th and final forward I would add this week on the wire is Danny Green of the Philadelphia 76ers. Danny Green, he's been pretty solid with this team. Last season with the Lakers, he didn't do much for fantasy owners. He was more of just a body and a 3-and-D guy who will occasionally have a good game. But Danny Green, last week, he had some great stat lines. 12.8 points a game he averaged, 5.5 rebounds, 3.3 assists. He even added a block a game with 3.5 threes a game, but 34% from the field, which hurt. He's ranked number 93 on the season, is Danny Green. And his big game was that January 12th game versus Miami last week in overtime, where he played 50 minutes, 9 threes. He hit 29 points, 10 rebounds, 6 assists, 2 steals, 2 blocks. But the last 2 games, he's come down a little. So Danny Green, he'll help you in some rebounding, obviously 3-point shooting and scoring the basketball. So if he's out there in your league, which he should be, at 61% he's available, I will go get him. So that's a few forwards I will look to add on the waiver wire this week into week 5 of the fantasy basketball season.